Hi, I'm Emma, LCA Specialist at Ecochain, and I'm going to show you how you can model the lifecycle of your product in Mobius. It's important to understand how this works because probably at some point you will want to consider the full lifecycle of your product, for example to evaluate sustainability decisions or to see the full impact of this product. Then it's nice to use this feature. We can find the lifecycle feature under Lifecycles in the left menu. If we go there in the t-shirt demo, we already see these examples that are already there. So let's check one out. What does a lifecycle look like? And what you see here is that the lifecycles feature is essentially a template to create your model in. So you see all these different phases like production, packaging, transport, use, and end of life. They help to create a structured model of the lifecycle of your product. As you can see here as well is that the product is included in the production phase. If we want to create a lifecycle for another product, we go back to the main lifecycles page and then we click on create lifecycle in the right top of the page. We need to give our lifecycle a name. For example, t-shirt called Black 2, as it is the second one for this product. Here we need to choose whether we want to create a lifecycle that has a product attached to it, or whether we just want to create a lifecycle and attach the product later. So this is something you can choose. Let's say that in this case we want to add the product. So let's search for it and add the product. Then finally, before you're done creating your lifecycle, you need to select what phases you want to include. And we have lots of different templates and you can just click through them and see whatever fits your situation best. And you can also later on adapt the template. So I will show you that a little bit further on in this video. Let's say that this one suits us best right now and create our lifecycle. So now you see that our product has already been attached automatically to the production phase. And we have some other phases here that we need to add items to. The way that this works is pretty much similar to how you model your products in Mobius. So if you click on add sub item, you can add an item, and this can either be an existing item in the product or object library, or this can be a new item that you can create here. If you add new items in the lifecycle feature, they will also be added to your object library. So you can always find them there and reuse them in other lifecycles. In this case, we're just going to use all kinds of stuff that's already in the life cycles of the other t-shirts. Let's say we want to use some plastic film that we're packaging our product in one piece, and we want to add some use. Let's say that our t-shirt is being used for 2 years. Then we also want to add some disposal, one t-shirt. Now we have added one item to every phase, but let's say I want to add some more packaging. So I actually have not only plastic film, but also something else. That I can click on the phase here, or on the name, and click on the plus in the top right, and I can add another sub item to this phase. For example, paper packaging, 0.05, like this. And here now you can see we have multiple packaging items attached to this phase, and we have our packaging complete. Of course, it can also happen that you created your life cycle with all these different phases and you actually realize that there's one phase in there that you don't need. For example, now it turns out I'm actually not including any transport, so I want to remove this phase. How I can do that is by clicking on the phase and then clicking on the waste bin in the top right detail panel. Then I can remove a phase. However, of course, the opposite can also happen. What if I actually have a phase that I want to add? So how I do that is I click on the name of the lifecycle, and then on the right I can actually add a phase. So I can click on create phase here and then type something like maybe maintenance or something. And I can select what kind of phase it is and then add the phase. Now you see that maintenance has been added all the way at the bottom of the life cycle, but actually I want it to be somewhere else. So I can also actually reorganize my phases, switching this toggle right here. And now I get into this interface where I can change the sequence of the phases. So in this case, I think maintenance is more suitable between use and end of life. So I am going to leave it there and just switch the toggle back off. You can see that our maintenance is in the place where we put it. Finally, just like with products, you can also make comparisons or scenarios with your life cycles and use the other tools. So where I can find all the things I can do is here in the top right under tools, and here I can create a scenario for a life cycle. And this works the same as the scenarios for products, so I'm not going to show you now, but you can watch that video if you're interested. Then we can also make a comparison with another life cycle or a product. And we can download the results and we can also download an insights PDF with some nice insights in the impact of our lifecycle. So in a nutshell, in this video I showed you how the lifecycle feature in Mobius works and how you can use it. I also showed you how to create a lifecycle, how to add phases and remove them, how to add the items into the lifecycle model, and how to reorganize your phases. If you have any more questions about the lifecycle feature, or you're not sure how to actually model the lifecycle of your product and what to include or to exclude, we have a lot of resources available that you can check out. Good luck doing your own LCAs.